Uh, Good afternoon. I believe you can hear. So if any issue with my audio, please kindly inform. Okay, let's wait a little while to see if we have more people to join from comments. That's few minutes. While we are waiting stylishly for others, let's load up our. Are you using Collab? Open your Collab. If you are using Jupyter Notebook, let's open it and get prepared. We're making use of TMTB Demi sent the last time as data the movie database. I believe Demi sent it last time. And just scroll up in your charts and get it downloaded. TMDB movies as a movie database. We'll be starting soon. Just waiting for everything to get set. All right. So let me share my screen. Well, to get a first-hand experience on what's it called, on pandas. You should know how to work. You know how to work on pandas. By now, you should know how to read files. You should know how to what's it called? You should know how to um, select. You should know how to filter, right? I believe those are one of those things you all learn. So if there's any question at the end of this meeting, let us all ask. So trying to set all parameters so that I won't have any difficulty when I start the class. All right. I want us to drop messages if you can hear me. Let's respond whether you thumb up. Let's just show some reactions to show that you can all hear me. Um, okay, Ebola can hear me. So believe every other person also can hear me. All right, let's get started. So right on my pandas, right now we should know how to work with external library. And one of the external libraries worked with is pandas. So let's go ahead and import, right? So the same data you used for Demis class, I'm going to use it because the one I sent earlier on has some, we need to do some cleaning to make good use of that. So let me just explore this. So I will save my data in a variable called movie. I want to believe I'm sharing the right screen, am I? Please, if you can see my screen, you can just show some reaction so I'll know. Hello. Please, at least you can drop message if you don't want to talk. It is better that way. So I'll know I'm not. You can, thank you. So that's what I need to know. Can't just keep quiet and I'm just talking to myself now. So let me see what's going on there. How about now?
I can see it now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, you can see.
Um, so I'll save, read my file and save it inside the variable. So we say, what kind of file are we dealing with? You need to know kind of file extension, and we are dealing with a CSV file. So you can then read CSV file by saying pd.read CSV. I've already uploaded it to my directory. I've put it in my Anaconda directory so I can get it from here directly as movie. I think I have a movie have check how that is spelled. Okay, that's a TMDB movies as name. So I say TMDB movies.csv. So I'll try to see the first 5 rows, my data. Okay. As you can see, we have the ID, budget, revenue, past, and so on and so forth. Perhaps I do like to see a good glance of all my data as they go. A variable I'm working with now is movies, right? So let me just do the info movie dot info. Good. So this gives me a very good summary of my data. I have popularity, budget, revenue, cast, page, vote count, release year, and so on. So I want to believe the last time we talked about indexing selecting and assigning. So today I'll be hoping to finish summary function and maps. As well, I'll be hoping to finish grouping and sorting. That's what we'll end Pandas class. We can go ahead and work independently. Right? Let's start with summary. If I need to describe a particular data, so I can say probably I need the budget. So I can say my movies variable that I save my data set. Let me say budget. Actually, let me know what. Let me preview my budget color so I can see what's there. Right. Budget adjective. Okay, it's not really. Let me see my vote average. Right. As I can see. So let me say my vote average. Right. So if I say just describe, it gives me a very good summary of my data set of that particular series. You can see the total voter average was 10,000 plus. At least the average votes of that column. And whatever meaning you want to derive from this as an analyst, as machine learning engineer, you can bring it out from here as much usefulness as you want from that particular data. So let's move on. Perhaps I'm interested in seeing, go to cast again. I'm interested in seeing all the company's name that actually, or perhaps let me move the director. All the directors that are collected in this movie or that are directed all these data sets. So to do that, I can say movie, right? Then I'll call my director column. I can say dot unique. When I say dot unique, these are all the directors we have here for the whole movies. How many rows do we even have? Say 10,000 plus rows. And these are all the, so I guess these directors must be very famous to have directed such enormous movies, right? So what if I want to count the number of movies each of these directors have directed, right? So I can say, I'll copy this particular column, movie the director column dot value counts. So these are happens that Woody Allen directed the most movie out of that. That's about 45 movies. Clint Eastwood is the second to the highest. That is the movies each of them have directed. Right? So the next thing is let's talk about maps. Let's say I want I want to get come in, let me find some questions I can bring out from this. Let's assume that I want to subtract the average count and the vote count. I want to create a new feature, I mean a new column, right? That will subtract vote count from vote average, right? Just for sample space, just for for illustration's sake, might not be much meaningful in our analysis, right? But I just want to use to illustrate how to use the map function. So what I will do there is to create a new column, right? To create a new column, let me say movies. Let me call the movie a column average count minus vote count, AVG CNC minus votes CNC, right? So what I will now do is to use if to, right? It's the new map, and we say lambda. And once lambda x that is such that it is going to be x minus what this column is that minus both counts minus movie both counts, right? Just some minutes. But in this case, since I want to map that, I would say I want to map it to average counts. I would say movie dot map, or perhaps I call the columns I want to use. That'd be better. It's a movies dot, what's the name of the column again? Average counts. Average votes counts. Is that not the name? Vote average, okay. Say votes average dot map, right? So if I run this, I'm going to have a new set of columns. Let me put it inside the new. So let me say movies, MOVIE. What name did I call it again? Yes. Let me say average votes. Vote average minus vote count. So let's run this. Perhaps before I run, let me display the data on its own. Movie.head. So just running. That actually takes several, because there's about 10,000 plus columns, rows. So it might take a while to.
I'm not seeing your screen again.
You can't see my screen again.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'm going to share that. Let's stop sharing. Soon. Just in a minute. That's just not what I want to share. All right. I believe you can see the screen now. So if we scroll down, this is what we did now. We used the map function to do some subtraction, basic subtraction. For all these column, I want to take each of the values in the vote average and subtract it from the vote count in each row. So let's go to the end of the column and see what's there. If you notice, it has given me a new column, vote average minus vote count that we declared here, right? And it's subtracting both average minus both median for each of the rows. So that is how we do that. The expression, you can raise that before we proceed. Okay. I believe we talked about mapping the last time when we were dealing with Python. So as we believe that we are used map function. So let's now move to grouping and sorting. We want to sort, right? We want to group. So first of all, let's find questions to ask ourselves on this data. We have seen how many movies, right, that each directors have directed. What if we want to see all the how many genres or all the genres? After might not need to use to sum that. Okay, let's say we want to see all the vote counts, some of all the vote counts that each director has. Vote counts by director. So let's say for director Bruce Brown, some of the vote counts he has. For Collins Trevorrow. Wow. Want to see all the vote counts for each of these. They are just about 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they are much anyway. I see dot here. So let's now group them for each. So to do that, you get your movie variable. They use group by. Group by is a function, is a method rather to group a particular columns. Let me give you the overview of what we want to achieve. For each of the directors, we want to find the sum of average counts. Or let me say average of the count, anyhow you want to put it. But if you want to understand more about what I'm talking about, these are the columns. Vote count here. I want to find the sum of each director that they have had. So let's group by director. I think that's the name of the column. Director, okay? VIRCT. If I'm grouping by director, what am I getting? I want to get the vote count column. Vote count. I guess that is how I spelled that. Right? If I run this like this, we're going to have an iterator because for each director, there are several votes. So it will not give us an aggregate value. You can see I have kind of an iterator here. So you just have to aggregate it by using whatever aggregator you want to use. You can say dot sum. So as you can see, these are the vote counts per director. So this is for Jardine has 2 vote counts. This has 11 vote counts. So that is how to group by each of by using group by pandas. This is given us in form of series. We can make it a data frame by just doubling this. Once you double this, it becomes a data frame, as you can see. So this is that. Okay. So the next thing we want to talk about is sorting, right? How do we sort? To sort in pandas, all you need to do, okay, let me say, all you need to do is to chain this particular command with sort values method. So once you do this and you run it, it's going to be sorted ascendingly. Sort values. Okay. That's because I have it in data frame here. Let me return it back to series. We are going to come back, click it back to data frame so that you understand what is happening. So now we can see I sorted by default in ascending order, by default in ascending order. So if I want to make it in descending order, all I just have to do is to add an argument here by saying ascending equals to false. So if I run this, I have it in descending order. You can see that Christopher Nolan has the highest vote count. Probably might be the best director anyway, as followed by Steven Spielberg. Now let's now return it back to data frame by doubling this, by double this, right? Now let's go to the last line of the error. It says sort values missing one required argument by. So it's telling you that you have to put let me remove this sort brackets so you can see something. Once you turn it to data frame, right, this becomes the index and this becomes a value. So you have to tell it that I want to sort by this value called vote count. So you can then proceed. Let's proceed now. So to do that, you can then use, let me put it here, by keyword. If you use by keyword, so what do you want to sort by? I want to sort by vote count, right? So if you run this, you can see what we have now. Are we together? So that is what we are doing here. So that is how to do that. If there's question, then feel free to ask. Okay, how do we now go by double indexes or double columns? Let's formulate a question for ourselves. Let's say it is possible that each director release more than one movie in a year, right? The director might release 5 movies in a year, 2 movies in a year, right? So we want to get all the movies related in a year, related to a director in a year. If we want to see all the movies in a year per director, then we now get the vote count for each movie. Probably I should reformulate that analysis we want to do. For each director, right, we want to see the list of all their movies released by year. So that is the release date. And when we now see the release date, we want to now see the vote count for each movie. So let's go ahead to tackle that. So we'll say movie dot group by. We want to group by director first. Now, since we are grouping more than one column, you have to put this list here. And let's go. I want to go by director. Director, right? And I want to go by released year. Let me see how they spell that. And just copy and paste release date. Here's it here. I'll copy this. I'll scroll down and paste it here. Right? Now, what do I want? I want to get the vote counts. Let me make it average of vote counts. Vote counts. Right? And I'll do dot AVG. So I'm raising average. So, okay, it's now recognizing the average function. I think to spell the, I should use main instead. Right? So that is that. You can see it's in form of series. I have it here. To make it a data frame, you can double this. Okay, it's not allowing me that. Let me go down to the last line of the error and see what. Grouper must be on the same length. So it is better we group the vote counts to make it a delta frame. As you can see, perhaps we don't have any director. Okay, I can see one here. That is Chateliers. Okay, we don't have any movie that is released same day. We don't have more than one movie released same days. But we can see we have 1995, 2001, 88 for this particular director. And the highest votes count he has was in this year. I guess that movie was a superb one for it to have been rated. Okay, sorry, it was in 2001. Right? Yeah. I think we are using the formats year, month, and day. So it is in 2011. Right? I want to believe that is clear. There are many ways to run your aggregation. You can use .ag. But because of time, you have it table you can always read up, right? So let's say we want to reset our index. We want to reset our index so that I will not scroll up. Let me try to display the first 5 here. Try to display the first 5. Now, for now, our index is the index pandas gave us by default. I will scroll back here. As you can see, we have ID, we have index 0, 1, and so on, created by pandas on its own. But however, this data was extracted from a database. That is why you can see that each of the data has their own ID. So this is form of index on its own, or tracking rather. That's what we call primary key in SQL anyway. So let's try to, since there's an index already in this data, let's ignore pandas default index. Let's put our own. So to reset our index, we use movie dot reset index, right? Then you put the name of the column that you want to use. I'm going to copy the here, and I'll just say ID. So if I run this, I have key error, so it couldn't recognize ID. Okay, I guess ID some stuff. Copy that again. Paste it here. All right, you know what we'll do? I will comment out this. I want to see what is happening. Why is it not recognizing the ID column? Or is it capital letter I per se? It's small letter I. So we are spelling it right. What I'll do now is I'll say movie dot info. And I'll scroll down. The ID might have had some space at the end. I don't know. Right? Let me use this, comment this out now, and try to rerun that with this space. I added a space now. Still the same thing. Okay. That is what happens when our data has so many leading white space. Don't forget, we learned how to remove white space .strip when we're talking about string. But I want to know how it is spelled here in this data first, so that we can correct that. ID. That is correct. So I'll copy this, paste it here. Comment this out. Okay, probably I should just make it in full, move it, then put my, I should call it from the data set I'm having, but I don't think this is the problem. As you can see, I just have to put. Okay, I'll just go ahead and use another key, another requested level ID does not match index name. So the question, the thing is not recognizing that particular column. So what I'll do, I'll use another column, right, as my index. I'll use another column as my index. I'll paste it here. Still the same thing. Okay, sorry. I should have used set index, my mistake. That was my mistake there. So it should be set index, not the set index. Sorry for that. So as you can see, I have my ID index as my ID column as my index now. I believe you all got that. So the correct command is set index, not reset index. I'll explain what reset is for now soon. So let us assume that I filtered. Let me create another column, another cell rather. Let me say I have my movie variable, and I select iLook, right? For the rows I'm selecting index 0, index 10, index 20, index 40, right? And I'm selecting, let me select some columns too. Let me select ID column. Let me select other columns are there again. Popularity and budget. Let me just make it that way. Popularity is that spells capital letter or small letter. Capital letter with a small letter. Copy this from here to avoid index error. Now paste it here. And I can then comment this out and then put it, remove this special character and do something like this. If I run this, dot lock, sorry, iLook is just for index-based locator. So if I say dot look, I'm going to have what I want. So you can see that the indexes are not, because I selected specific index, 0, 10, 20, 40. You can see it gives me the, if I now want to reset, that is when the command I was trying to use then mistakenly. And now you can then use reset, set index, right? And everything can then start from 0 again. I want to believe you understand. So if there's any question, perhaps you can ask. All right. So let's move on further away from that. I've talked about sorting. Okay. So we'll go to the next notes. I'm done with grouping and sorting on pandas. Just a minute, my system is acting up. You can drop your questions if you have in the chat. I'll address them. All right. So the next, which will be the last thing we'll talk about, is data types and missing values, which is one key thing you must know as an ML engineer You must know how to clean your data, how to convert from one data type to another. So let's quickly see. Although we have done that before, to check data type of each column, all you just need to do is to do movie.info. My screen is missing me again. Okay. Thank you for that. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. I want to get, what was I saying? The data type for each. So I can do the movie.info. This is my preferred. To give me all the data type for each. Object, floats, ints, objects. Object is similar to string. And we also have date and time, right? Now, alternatively, you can get, you want to only talk about one column. You can just check for one column. Let's say I want to check the data type for ID column. So I can say, select this particular ID then dot D type. Once I say dot D type, I'm going to have the column, the data type of that particular column. Let's say I want to also check for budgets. Also have ints. That is for that. So alternative way, you can call the D type on everything. Right? Call the D type on everything. Okay, can't complain attribute error. That's no D type. So best is still to use call it index ID of D type. That gives you what it wants. Several ways to kill a bird anyway. So you might. Now let's go to missing data. I'll quickly run the info to see we have to see missing data at a glance. So this particular column here, this particular information is telling us that we have 10,866 observations or records, so to say, right? Out of which, from this column, to this column, they are complete. Cast as missing value. Home page also has a lot of missing values, right? And so on and so forth. So how do we now check how much missing values do we have in each? So we can just say movie dot is null, right? Is null. If you want is null, you're going to have true, false, true, false, true, false, and so on, right? Now, if you now do the dot sum, that is, you want to sum each up. So it's going to give you the number of missing values we have in each. So you can see IMG has 10 missing values, cast as 76, homepage has 79,000, and so on. All these are the missing values we have. Other ways to do this, you can also use the is NA. Is NA and is null has the same function, right? They both check for missing values. I'm trying to check the time. Okay. They both check for missing values. So if I use is NA and I run this, I will still have the same thing, right? So your choice matters there, whether you want to use is null or you want to use is NA. Perhaps this is not giving us a relative values. We want to see the percentage of missing values we have in each. So I can just divide by the length of records we have in movie, right? Then multiply it by 100. So we can see that this has the highest missing value is still in homepage. 72% of the data are missing, right? 25% of data are missing in tagline here. That is for that. You might as well want to round. So you can just round this, put it in a top in a listing, then use dot round 2 decimal places, or just let me round it to nearest whole. So as you can see, 73%, 26%, 14% for missing values for each of the rows we have there. Okay. If there's question, kindly drop it in the chat before I proceed. Okay. So we've talked about missing values. So what do we now do with the missing values? Well, the choice of what to do depends on you, the analyst, the engineer, depending on the business task you're trying to solve. Sometimes my say, let me remove those missing values, especially this particular columns that has 73%, that is almost all the data is missing. So you just have to drop this particular column. Why some that have missing value like, now I can't see IMD because I have rounded it up. Let me put it to 3 decimal places. As you can see, this has very small, small fraction of missing values here. It's about less than 1% of it. So you might feel like if this column is useful, I should fill it up, right? So I'll only do for one. Let's say for the home page. Oh, this is too much. You might likely drop this, right? Let's quickly talk about how to drop it. So to drop the missing value, I'll call my variable movie. I'll just say dot drop NA, right? Once I do this, it's going to remove all missing values, right? Let me try to save it somewhere. Let me say movie with no missing, right? Then let me run this. Let me now check if I still have missing value now. Moving with no missing dots is null dot sum. You can see everything now has 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Just there are no more missing values there. One thing you might not want to do is, if I want to fill, so we're not going to use this particular variable anymore. Be back to our movie data set because we still have missing values there. Let's try to check it. Is no. Because we still have missing values there. Let's say now I want to fill this particular column, cast. I want to fill it with the mode, right? So what I can do, let me try to get the mode, the highest of frequency there. Let me say movie and my cast column, CAST dot mode, right? So Louis is the most frequent, Louis CK is the most frequent cast there. Let me try to bring it out. If I say 0 here, so I have it in string, Louis CK, right? So every places that has missing value, I want to fill it up with Louis CK. That might be one method you might use. Depending, there's no one size fits all. They're the one that will determine how you want to solve your problem relating to how you handle how to handle missing values. But for this sample, I just want to fill those missing values with this. So to do that, there's a method called fill NA. So I'll say movie dot fill no. But I have to call the columns I want to fill first. Which column am I filling? I want to fill cast column, right? So then I'll just say dot fill null values. I want to fill it with this. I'll just copy this and paste it here. You know what? You're already seeing what this particular column will return. It's going to return this, right? So if I do this, if I run this now, I'm going to fill everything with that has missing with Louis CK. That is how to fill there. I'm using mode as my choice here. There's no rule that say you must use mode, right? So let's try to do another one. Okay, let me quickly introduce you to subsets. Let's say I want to remove only the missing value from director. I don't want to remove every missing value from the whole data set. You know, if I say movie dot drop NA, you want to drop, delete, remove every missing values in each column. But I'm only concerned about director column. So I can just say movies or drop NA subsets equals to, since I just have one, I can just say director. So in this case, only the missing value from the director will be removed. It's not tampered with other columns. While that's will still be there. So this is that you can later check and see. But perhaps let's get director column. Say 0 half, right? Dots. Let's see there's still none here. It's not the sum. I see there are no more missing values in the data set. So that is that for handling missing value, right? So what else again? Let's talk about the replace. I'll try to view the whole data set at a glance. Everything I'm doing, I'm not saving it inside the main variable, so I can still use it again. Perhaps you might be asking, how do I save it? All you just need to do is to put command here, say in place equals to true. Once you do this, your changes will be reflected in the main variable called movie, right? Not in the main data set that has that you downloaded, but in the variable you use to save the data sets. So this is our list head now. Now look at this. I want to try to see. You can see all these column, the IMDb ID. It has TT, 0 TT, and so on. TT. You scroll down, everything starts with TT. What if I want to remove that TT for everything, right? That is where the remove method comes in. So I can say movie. Since I'm dealing with string, let me call my column, the column I want to talk about first. What's the name of the column? IMDb ID. IMDb ID, right? So I'll say dot sthouse, since it is string. So dot replace. Dot replace. So I want to replace TT. I want to replace it with empty string. So if I run this, perhaps I should save it inside a new variable. See, that should be. So I'm overwriting the original with the new one. So in the new one now, let's quickly check again. In the previous one, there are TTs. You can see it here. At the starting each of the IMDb ID. So we want to remove them. This is our code to remove them, right? So I now want to overwrite the previous one. So let me run this now. And then call my movie.head to see the preview. So if you scroll down, you will notice that there are no more TT starting for each IMDb ID, right? So one thing I would like us to do is this. Look at this cast column. I really don't understand what information we are trying to. I think here we have three parts. There is Boris, Dellas. Let's try to split them into 3 columns. I want to split them each. Or perhaps, let's say we want to create a new column that we're going to name head cast, the head of the cast. We want to, the head of the cast, assuming that it is always the first name written here. Always the first name, which is, in this case, the head of the cast is Tom Handy. In this case, is Charlene Woodley. So let's do that. I want to put that, create a new column for that. So what I'll do, create a new column, movie, and I'll call it head cast. Perhaps before I do that, I think you should first see how it works first. Let me comment this one out. All right. So I'll call my movie. And the column I want to work with cast. Right. Since this is a string, I'll say the string dot split. Let's be here lighting. We are familiar with split function method. You should know what I'm talking about here. So if I say dot split, as you can see, this is it here. So if I pick the first item here, as you can see, it has so I think I should split by the pi. So you can see, let me remove this so you can see what I've done. You can see how I separated it. Right? And so on. You can add additional arguments, expand equals to true, expand equals to true if you so desire to do that, but that's not what we want to do. Right? I'll just split it by this. Now I need the first data here. So all these are the head cast. So I can then go back, continue my variable I have like this. If I want this, and just say movie dot s, so I can see whether it is now there. That's the issue. Length of value 5 does not match length of index. Okay, I guess I have some missing values there. Let me just try to drop the missing values. So drop NA, right? We have value error. Okay, I guess that's perhaps let me drop all the whole missing values from the data so that I will know that I'm saving this running other code. So I'll say the drop NA, right? In place, since I want to save it now, equals to true. Let's run this. Still have this. Okay. Does not match the length of 192. I that. Let me give you an explanation of what this error is saying. Saying that if you split the whole of this particular column called cast, it is not complete to fill the rest. Probably there are some data there that I don't have such. I don't have this kind of structure. So some have maybe just one, or some of them have just two. Right? So that is just how to do that. Probably you need to explore data and see what is happening more in the data. But what you're just complaining about is that if I split this, the length you are going to have does not correlate with the total length of the data sets, right? Because if I remove this, as you can see, definitely it's going to split. MOV. It's going to split, right? So let me return. If I return it back, it's going to complain that the length is not there. So on your own, try to check because there's no more time. This is 1 minute past now. Let's check why the length is not complete. All right, so do you have questions? If you have, so we can round up class. Is there any? Okay, no question. But I want to believe you all understand. The cable note is still there. You can always reference the notes if you have challenge. Now, next class we'll be taking data visualization. I'm thinking we limit it to one. Probably we should take Seaborn because we have three tools for visualization. In fact, more than three anyways. You can use Matplotlib, Seaborn, Pandas itself to visualize. So I'm going to take Seaborn perhaps because of time. Or I'll meet with my team and let us know which is best. All right, thank you for joining today's meeting. I would like to call it a day. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir.